Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Serena, and as you can tell from the title, it is time to make my husband a cabana set. It is hot outside, so summer sewing is a must. In today's video, I'll be making my husband a cabana set for his birthday, which should be today if I upload it on time. So happy birthday, Mr. SewRena. I will be using a modern redrafted pattern for this project. It is a really quick and simple project to do, and I also leave some tips and tricks and alterations that I found very helpful for my husband, as this is the fourth time that I'm making this outfit. This outfit is inspired by an outfit that I've already made for myself last year. He really liked the fabric, so I wanted to make him something with it, since he did request that I buy this fabric for him last year, but I bought all that the store had the first go around. So now it's time to give him something really special for his birthday. So if you're interested in seeing how I make this cabana set and the alterations that I make, go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow for the rest of this video. Don't forget to follow me in real time at SewRena_ on Instagram. You can also leave me a virtual tip if you'd like to support this channel further on Ko-fi. And you can become a bobbin over on Patreon, where you can get early access to some of my content, as well as some bonus content on a monthly basis. So thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I do truly hope that you enjoy it. For today's patterns, we're going to be using Simplicity 8659. It's a 1950s vintage reproduction pattern, and it is a cabana set. These patterns are redrafted for modern sizing, so you go from a size extra small to a size extra large. And here is the pattern illustration or line art on the back. It is a cabana top and bottom. You have two views, but the two views vary depending on if you completely line the top with a terry cloth, or if you use a different material for contrasting fabric on the collar, facings, and cuffs, and leave it only partially lined. On my channel, we use a lot of true vintage patterns, but in this case, I find that a major benefit to using a modern redrafted pattern is that you get the multiple sizes. So if you have to choose a size or even grade up, you can use the grading rules that already exist. And in my case, I did extend the crotch, so that way my husband had a little bit more length. For the main fabric, I used a citrus vintage looking striped fabric. It is 100% cotton and it looks really nice. I used it for myself last year and I was really excited to make him something to match. For the contrasting details, I used this vanilla colored terry cloth or towel material for a partial lining. Today I am starting with the sleeves. This is not the first step, but I want to play a little bit with the lines, and I want the sleeves to go horizontal and the stripes on the body to go vertical. So I went with the sleeves first because I wanted the lines to line up as much as possible before moving on to the other steps. The pattern would prefer you to attach the front sleeve to the front of the blouse or shirt and the back sleeve to the back of the shirt before combining the sides at the shoulders. But in this case, because I wanted to make sure that everything was cut and lined up perfectly, I just attached the front and the back sleeves together first so I could get the pattern match that I wanted. When I purchased this material, I only purchased enough to make his outfit, and I didn't consider the pattern matching because it slipped my mind that I wanted to change the direction of the sleeves. So keep in mind when you're buying directional prints or striped patterns or plaids that you need to buy enough to make the stripes match. Larger size patterns do require more fabric in order to get a good pattern match, and smaller sizes like my size and children's sizes usually don't use that much extra fabric, and you can usually sometimes get away with not having to buy any extra at all. Once the two pieces of the sleeves are attached for both sides, then it's time to follow the instructions as they were written. There won't be any more deviations to this pattern after this. I have made this pattern for my husband several times. This will be the fourth time that I'm making it, and I am going to make a couple of improvements to this cabana set that I didn't make in the past. And I'm implementing some ideas that I had that I'm only getting to try out now. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys, because I definitely feel like I can help make a difference for anybody who might be making this for yourselves or a loved one. As I stated earlier, I'm only going to be partially lining this cabana set because my husband has found that the completely lined terry cloth cabana set tends to be a little warm, and we live in the South, so it gets pretty hot out here. So if you're not intending on being poolside when you have a fully lined one, then it is kind of uncomfortable to wear throughout the day. If you're making a completely lined one, which is my favorite method for doing this because you get to cover all of your seams without having to do any kind of seam finishing because it is completely lined, then you obviously get to ignore that. But if you're doing a partially lined one like the way that I am doing, you're going to want to serge, do French seams, or use pinking shears. For this one, I'm going to serge. The last one that I partially lined, I used pinking shears and it's holding up wonderfully. I just went ahead and used my serger because I had white thread, so it matched the project and it was pretty quick. Once the sleeves are attached, you can go ahead and close up the side seams. One of my favorite sleeves to put in an outfit are raglan sleeves because you don't actually have to ease anything in, so they'll go in wonderfully. Also, don't forget to stay stitch the neckline because they can easily get stretched out, especially with so many pieces making up the neck. So I'm making this outfit for my husband's birthday, and because I lost track of time, I realized that I was running a little late for his birthday. That's why I'm using the serger and I'm moving as quickly as possible because 2 days after his birthday is my birthday and I didn't even consider making anything for myself either. I'm just so all over the place. So I wanted to make something really quick, but I also wanted to make something I knew he would like. And he really loved this fabric when I bought it for myself last year. So I thought it would be really cool to make him something. And then we'd also have a cute couple's outfit. So as you can see, the top comes together really quickly. I was able to make the entire top pretty much in one night, and I made the entire set in 2 nights. So once the stitch stitching is done, then I'm going to deviate again. I guess I said I was only going to do it once, but I guess I did it again because the pockets are supposed to go on before the shirt's actually put together. And because I wanted to make this a little bit more special, I decided to go over to my Janome Skyline S9 and do some embroidery because what is a vintage cabana set without your monogram or initials on it? So that's exactly what I decided to do. This time, instead of downloading a fancy font, I decided to go with a system font, which I thought would be very simple and perfect because I find that true vintage fonts aren't really extra. And I wanted to stick with the more true vintage theme instead of going with a very fancy, elaborate design that would scream modern machine stitching. If you haven't noticed already, I also switched up the direction on the pocket and decided to go with a horizontal stripe for the pocket so that way they match the sleeves. The outfit that I made myself, I play with the stripes in 3 different ways. They're vertical, diagonal, and horizontal, and I wanted that to be reflected in his outfit as well. So in this set, I played with it in 2 different ways since there was nowhere to put a diagonal stripe. Now it's time to cut out the collar, and I cut the collar on the cotton first, and then I'm using that as a guide for cutting it out on the terry cloth. And one thing I will recommend with the terry cloth is to be very careful because it tends to stretch out. And as you work with it and iron it, turn off the steam on your iron. A friend, Jack Sews on Instagram, gave me that tip. He is wonderful with vintage textiles, especially terry cloth, and it works. So do that. You can even stay stitch if you want to be extra careful. I found that this one was wonderful to work with, and it's not my first time working with it, so just make sure you turn off the steam and be very careful not to stretch out your material, and you should be great with working with the terry cloth. Now I am adding the pocket band, which is made of terry cloth, to the pocket, and I am adding that right side to wrong side of the pocket. And then I am putting some gathering stitches on the round of the pocket, and as you can see, I'm going to gather that up so that way I can get a smooth rounded corner without having any kind of weird funky angles or points. And once I gather that up, I'm going to iron it, and you get smooth rounded corners on your pockets when you do it that way. That was actually a tip that was put inside of the pattern, so I didn't make that up. Now it's time to top stitch the pocket on, and you want to get as close to the edge as possible. Because this is a patch pocket on thinner fabric, I reinforced the top edges with denim. The terry cloth is on the inside and that's the outside, and we're going to put right side to wrong side for this. instead of right side to right side. So yeah. I did forget to mention that I did make one alteration to the top, and that was to shorten the sleeves by an inch. Apart from that, I'm still following the directions and the pattern as it was printed. When the cuff is attached to the sleeve, you want to flip it to the right side and then go ahead and top stitch that cuff down and do it on both sides. The final step before hemming the top is to add the facing on there, and I go ahead and interface this as well so that way I have a good foundation for setting nice buttonholes. Now for the top stitching, I find the top stitching detail really nice, especially if you don't want to do any kind of hand stitching, but especially nice when it's fully lined because it helps the terry cloth not to get saggy and hang beneath the cotton. While I am top stitching, I think it's a great time to let you know that if you become a bobbin over on Patreon, you will have access to my full shopping list for this project. I will have direct links to all of the materials in this project as well as all of the materials from recent projects as they are applicable to my bobbins. So join Patreon today. The link will be in the description below. I'm going to do some bar tacks to reinforce the pocket. So the machine settings is to do a width between 2 and 4, put the length to this like orange bar, and then leave the modifier on red. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do maybe 2 bar tacks on each upper corner. And beneath this, I actually have some denim to help reinforce. I used a denim patch and I ironed it on. And so we're going to go ahead and add some bar tacks. Bar tacks are super quick and easy to do. I ended up only doing 1 on each side since I made the stitch width pretty wide. This is a step I highly recommend on patch pockets and decorative pockets that hang on the outside of the fabric, especially if it's a thinner fabric like this cotton. Now we are moving on to the shorts. It has a decorative welt pocket. Technically the pocket works, but it's so tiny I can't imagine anything modern going in there. This is the very first step for putting the shorts together, but if you don't want to use that pocket, because again it's highly unnecessary unless you have a little bit of change or maybe even a traditional room key for a hotel, that's about all that can fit in there, or maybe a credit card. The biggest changes that I made to this pattern were done to the shorts. As I said earlier, I did some grading to the crotch area so that way he would have more room, but also my husband has a longer torso, so I had to increase the length on the upper part of the shorts, which would be considered the waistband once it's folded over and the elastic is encased. Once the pocket flap is on, all you have to do is add a button and open the buttonhole, and it's pretty much done, and you can move on to the regular assembly of your shorts. The next and possibly most important alteration that I made to this design was to exclude the mesh lining that is typically found in older swim trunks and gym shorts. They tend to be very uncomfortable, so I swapped that out for something I feel will be more comfortable and a lot quicker to sew, and a solution to the problem that a lot of people have with those style of shorts. Although this is the 4th time that I'm making the cabana set, this is only the 2nd time that I'm making the shorts. Because of the design flaw that I found in the original design of this, I didn't think it would be suitable for a proper swim trunk. So we actually bought a modern swim trunk to go with one of his sets, and then the other one he just wore regular shorts to go with it. This is the original lining piece, and it's cut kind of like a bikini in shape. And with this style shape, especially made in a fitted mesh material, it kind of cuts in like a bikini in a way that I don't think that most men are used to wearing their undergarments. So just on the fit alone, it was uncomfortable for my husband. And then when it comes to practicality, the mesh really didn't do anything, especially on a short this short. All it did was kind of encase his privates, which still ended up falling through the leg of his shorts. So it's definitely not an appropriate style design. And so I'm going to fix that with this pair of shorts, and it's a really quick and simple fix. The solution I have to this problem is the modern day compression short. I was able to pick this up at my local department store in a pack, so I have plenty to make alterations on other styles if I decide to. The fit on these are more suitable to the style underwear that he would wear on a regular basis as opposed to the bikini style that was on the original design. And also I forgot to mention, on the bikini style you also had to add some elastic to the leg casing, so it would also add an additional layer of discomfort for someone who's not used to wearing things like that. Because of the nature of the compression material, it hugs the thigh and it keeps everything where it belongs. I would consider this to be like the modern male equivalent of a foundation garment that's built into the shorts. To prep this piece for sewing, all I did was find the center front, center back, and the side seams, and I marked that with chalk and lined it up with the same markings on the shorts, so that way I can evenly distribute the stretch on the shorts and make sure that everything lines up perfectly and does not twist when it's worn. Because I had to extend the length of the original shorts to fit my husband's torso, I had to leave the waistband attached to the compression shorts. But if you have someone who has a more average sized torso and didn't require it to be lengthened, then you can cut the waistband off and then sew the short directly to your shorts. For the placement, you're still going to do right sides together, but in order to achieve this, you're going to want to make sure that you do not attach the crotch seams on the cabana shorts just yet, and you're going to overlap the cabana shorts 1/4 of an inch from the raw edge or the finished edge of the waistband on the compression shorts. Then I use a pretty wide zigzag stitch to attach the two pieces, stretching as I sew. Put the compression shorts inside of the cabana short, stitch up the crotch seam on the cabana short, and then top stitch to make a casing. And just like that, you have a quick and easy modern solution to the original design. And here are some detail shots. These are some buttons that I hand dyed using a Rit synthetic dye to give it a more vintage or antique look. And there is the inside. It's partially lined. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments below. The engagement would really help the success of this video. Also, this should be posting for everyone on Mr. SewRena's birthday. So help me wish him a very happy birthday. Don't forget to follow me in real time on Instagram at SewRena_. If you would like to support this channel anymore, you can leave me a virtual tip over on Ko-fi. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.